This meeting to order. We do have a quorum. Thank you everyone for coming today. Christine, do we have anybody attending via Zoom?
Sir.
Okay. Today we welcome our new city manager, Scott Mitten. Scott, we welcome you and Angela Portalis and hope you are getting settled in. So I will introduce our members. This will also serve as roll call today. From Water Advisory, we have Diane Parker. And Larry Levesey is not here today. He is from Roosevelt County Water Co-op. We have Eric Segovia from Roosevelt County Electric Co-op. Eldon Merrick, Counselor Eldon Merrick. We have Greg Privet from Public Works. We have Thomas DeWitt, and we have Mike Rackler on Public Works and City Council. And my name is Mike Davidson. We also have honorary member Ursula Parker. She's the general manager from Roosevelt County Water Co-op. So under the minutes of the June 23rd meeting have been provided. Very happy to see the minutes process being implemented for this group. That said, just got a couple of minor corrections. Under meeting commencement and introductions, Eldon's name should be Eldon. Larry Levesey's last name should be Levacy. Under public comment, that should be Ian Hillsman, Hillsman. Also under personal experience with water leak, again, it should be Ian Hillsman. We have the same guy with two different spellings, both of them wrong. So considering these changes have been made public, do we have a motion and a second to approve these minutes as corrected?
So moved.
Okay. Anybody opposed to this? Okay, the minutes from 6/23 have been approved as verbally corrected by unanimous consent. The agenda is published in advance. Could we have a motion to adopt today's agenda? Okay, second. Anyone opposed? Agenda of 7/28/25 is adopted without modification. We will be discussing items specifically on the agenda, and we will conclude with members of Public Works, of the Water Advisory Group, committee, city staff, and the public having the opportunity to comment for up to 3 minutes. As a point of order, please indicate if you wish to talk and you will be given the floor. Please respect that while someone has the floor, let them speak without interruption. The first item on the agenda now, Mr. Mitten, did you want to add to your introduction?
As far as adding, I think there's enough content there, but I certainly appreciate your introduction. I'll pass it on to Angela. She will appreciate that as well.
Okay.
Glad to be here. And that's about it for now. Thank you.
Okay. All right. The next item on the agenda, I wanted to give for Mr. Mitten's purpose from the Water Advisory Group a little bit up to speed on this committee's mission progress to date. The Water Advisory Group was formed as a task force by former city manager Sarah Austin in late 2023. It was officially established as a standing committee by Mayor Miller in January 24 at the January 23rd City Council meeting as a subgroup of the Public Works Committee. The group's membership was structured to include any members of Public Works who wish to participate, along with the following appointed members. Not serving on Public Works would be Diane Parker, Eldon Merrick, Larry Levesey, Eric Segovia, and Greg Privet. These non-Public Works members are what is officially published as the Water Advisory Group. The group was created to assess Portalis's ongoing water security challenges explore viable solutions and make recommendations to city council to help strengthen and diversify the city's water portfolio. One of the first and most urgent tasks, originally believed to be pretty straightforward, was revising the city's drought contingency plan. The existing plan determines conservation stages based on tank levels. However, we quickly identified this as an unstable and imprecise method. Tank levels fluctuate rapidly, creating kind of a yo-yo effect as the city goes in and out of different conservation stages. More critically, the system provides little to no insight into the actual status of the well field or underlying aquifer. Based on input from Mr. Segovia, the group concluded that a more accurate and functional method would be to base conservation stages on production capacity versus demand. For example, if the well field could produce 4 million gallons per day and our current usage was 3 million gallons per day, then we are operating at 75% capacity. That ratio would then determine the appropriate conservation stage. To implement this system with the necessary level of precision, accurate digital metering is essential, not only for residential and commercial users, but also for the well field itself. In January 2024, the city did order 2 flow meters to begin this effort. However, the process faced multiple setbacks. The original shipment was back ordered, then it was lost, then the incorrect units were sent, and then subsequent replacements arrived damaged. As of today, and we're 18 months in, we're still awaiting the installation of the functional flow meter, to my knowledge. The Water Advisory Group did draft a revised drought contingency plan, which was approved by City Council and intended to serve as a foundational framework going forward. However, it was rescinded at the following meeting due to the recognition that accurate and real-time data is critical before any legally enforceable plan could be adopted. As a result, the group remains a bit in a bit of a holding pattern until digital metering is fully implemented both residentially and in the well field. Once in place, we would be able to deploy a more precise and responsive conservation strategy that will incorporate tiered pricing to encourage voluntary compliance and use production versus demand analysis to guide both the immediate actions and the long-term planning. So that's kind of where we sit right now. If there was questions, we'd be glad to try to answer them.
Mr. Davis, there was a lot of information there. To be quite honest, I couldn't keep up.
Okay.
Even with the pen. So I'm gonna go back to the first thing. So the Water Advisory Board was created to do 3 things, is what I think I gleaned from your data. Initially, assess, explore, and the last one was recommend, or okay, recommend. All right. And I think I heard about 3 problems that are kind of connected, but I think from my thought process, slightly different too. But one of the first things that I think are the latest things that you've been working on that would have some effect is the fact that gauging the contingency plans or the emergency status of water is based on the fill in the water tank, which is fairly inconsistent because of lag time in reporting and so on, right? I mean, I get it. Water goes up, down a little bit, and the electrons go somewhere. So lag time and different things might give a kind of a false report. So the Water Advisory Board, it looks like in the notes at the end of a brainstorm, and I think brainstorming session, determined that it would be effective to have a reporting mechanism that was tied not into the water tank, but from the flow capacity that we're able to do from the well fields. In that case, that would give us where we are with supply and demand. Am I doing okay so far?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So I understand that. I don't think my agreement or disagreement is on the table right now. I understand that. sounds fair to me. I just want to make sure I'm understanding, what we're talking about. But then we start to get into a couple of comments that are related, but it seems like they're kind of downstream, no pun intended, when we're talking about water. But we start talking about accurate digital meters, et cetera, ordering them from the supplier, backlogged, incorrect, broken, things like that. I'm kind of following that, but I start getting a little fuzzy after that. But it seems like the first problem on the table still is timely and accurate measurement. What the tank isn't really effective for that. We're looking for the supply and demand answer. And so where do we go from here? I think I'm tracking pretty good.
Yes.
Okay. So we have a advisory board. We know that supply, and we have, I think, we have ways to deal with contractor supply or whatever, vendor supply and things that I think that's in a different realm. So where do we go from here, I guess is my question.
Yes, I think that, of course, this is a big, I think that the next level would be for the city to make the determination if they're gonna go with the electronic metering, and that would give us the basis to develop some type of enforcement on our conservation levels.
Okay, so the Water Advisory Board kind of, and I know that's your opinion, seeks a decision from the city on whether they're going with the digital meters.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. And then we know, because this is standard business, that digital meter and so on will take time. So I would argue that you need kind of two answers. Do we want to do this with digital meter, and what do we do in between? Because you'll need a bridge to get to that point.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I would like to discuss the possibility of getting some assistance from the co-op. It's been suggested by Eric and his team that they could help us get that metering, at least at the well field, rather quickly. And we've been waiting a year and a half to try to do it the way you're trying to do it. If we have a partner here in town willing to help, I don't know why we're, pumping the brakes on that when we have somebody that can do that. So
This question
I'd
is,
like to at least discuss that possibility, because if we could get it on the well field, I think we could at least use that as a temporary way to manage our contingency till we get the residential stuff.
are you asking for a comment or decision from me, or are you making
Put it on the table.
making a motion, or?
It's never been, we've never asked for their help. I'm asking, I would
Okay.
officially asking for that.
Yeah, and I think you're on point. That's a great comment. I do think at some point that would be a motion that maybe you would make to the committee, to the Water Advisory Board, I think. And it sounds like that's part of the bridge or bridging strategy to get where you finally want to be on that deal. But I just want to make sure I'm tracking the information correctly, and I'm pretty close to what the objectives are.
I think just another thing, I think there's some different perspectives on how we get there.
I'll bet there are. You
And
bet.
so I think where my perspective differs with Mike's here is, I don't know that we necessarily need the residential metering in place yet. I think there's ways to do it with the current metering. It just depends on what type of system that the city would like to adopt in the interim. But I think, definitely you need to know what your well production's doing. And then what you have, real time, looking at metering out in the well field.
Mm.
But on the residential side or the user side, end user side, I think you could actually use the meters that you have. If you wanted to go to some type of tiered rate schedule, and then you just sum it up at the end of the month. And then we don't have to wait, years to install, I don't know how many thousand meters you have in the city system in the interim, and while we're waiting for digital metering. And so there's possibilities and options that we could look at that might be able to help until we completely get there. But I think definitely need to start with smart meters and the technology in the well field. So that's just a different perspective that might be able to speed some things up.
I think those and other perspectives are awesome and need to be brought to the table. We have a problem. We're seeking solutions. You've done a lot of work to get to a solution. Now, let me ask this. This is an honest question. As a Water Advisory Board, and I'm not sharpshooting anybody. This is me listening, learning. When you're not behind the oak panel, Do you have working groups where you set up and you bring objective statements? We want to be here. Here's some ways to get there. Do you do that work first? I'm in no way saying someone's not doing work. That's not my point. Do you do some of those things and come up with viable courses of action that you recommend, like course of action 1, 2, and 3? Here's the pros, here's the cons, et cetera, taking all resources, time, money, personnel into consideration before we do that? So, okay, and this is it's a follow-up question. Again, please forgive me. This is me trying to understand. This is not punching anybody. Where does the work get done? Do I do it?
Great question.
Well, the extracurricular activities outside of this group in these meetings, a lot of that hasn't been done. At the same time, we did go on several tours of, we went to a tour of the well field, we went to a tour of the wastewater treatment plant and saw some problems, uncovered some problems, saw some solutions, potential solutions, like taking a storage tank instead of putting it over in an industrial park. These gentlemen were talking about our future having a storage tank in the well field, and we did a little brainstorming and thought, why don't we put that tank in the well field and serve two purposes at once, give us the extra storage capacity and give us the booster capacity that we needed. So some things have been done outside of the group to try to come up with solutions and discover some of the problems, but not a great deal outside of this room.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of that is, I think, trend is we have small conversations in small groups of this group, but trying to avoid quorums and whatnot, it's kind of hard to figure that out until we set an actual work group, and we have done.
Okay.
That's probably a very great next step.
Mr. Eckler, and I think you were on it with that comment you just said, the work groups. Team, I'm not about more administration, but the work has to get done. And so an advisory committee, advisory board is necessary. I love the fact that it's here. Working groups, if necessary, have to be done and executed with clear objectives on what their intent is when they're finished. And the work has to be done, right? Because I can't spend money on something that doesn't exist, and it doesn't exist until I have a viable course of action and a course of action that's agreed upon with the desired end state and the bridging strategy to get there. And I think that, forgive me, I forgot your name already. Eric. Segovia. Yeah. It is amazing and lovely when multiple courses of action are brought up to get there, and then a board like yours can crunch it and decide what they want to do in consensus, and then we move forward. So I'd ask for more of that as applicable, but when I'm sitting on this side, I think that either I need to do the work, which I'm willing to do, but whatever comes out of that is what comes out of it. But as an advisory committee and board to come up with viable courses of action after a working session or working group, it sounds to me like that's what needs to happen. But if we're going to do that, please define our objectives, our goals, and the outcomes so that we can hand over operational information to a team, the city, who would vote on it and then enact it in a direction that we can put money against, time, effort, resources, manpower to get it done, and then we go do that. Does that sound fair? Okay.
Are there any more comments on the summary? Our next item on the agenda is a presentation from Roosevelt County Electric Co-op discussion. This would be Eric Kendall. So Eric, you want to take over that part?
Sure. Yeah, thank you. Morning. I would like to introduce Kendall Mudgett. He's our new hire at the Electric Co-op. He's our water operations manager. He has experience with EPCOR, Clovis, and so we've learned a lot from Kendall. We've been with us about 2 months now, Kendall. Pretty close. About 2 months. I think we've learned a lot about our well field that we've purchased, and I've learned a lot about water leaps and bounds, most definitely. So just to give you an update, and to get Mr. Mitten caught up with where we're at. The Electric Co-op, in a shorter explanation of a longer explanation, has seen the need to jump into water operations. I think that there's been a stigma of not having any water in Portales, and it's really been a dark cloud over our community as a whole. Though we don't serve electricity to Portales, inside of the city limits, mainly across a few lines here and there, but we do serve the outskirts of town, which is about 1,500 water members for the water co-op that we have mutual membership with. Of course, they're fed from the city system. And I think, a few years back, there was a lot of discussions of not being able to get water meters because the city wasn't allowing us to grow. I think that's been changed since. But the stigma's still there, and the contractors are not wanting to do much home building or growth around here. And so it's starting to hurt our electric sales. So our electric board finally said, hey, let's go get involved. At first, we tried to just advocate for some, partners to come into town and help out. As it seemed as if that was starting to fall through, the electric boards finally said, let's just go get involved ourselves. So with that, we now have in our control about 35 wells. Is that right? 35 water wells. We're in close proximity to the town. We're just southeast of town. I would say that physically we could pump over 3,000 gallons a minute, but we don't have the rights to pump over 3,000 gallons a minute. As we convert wells from ag to municipal wells, we have to derate what we're allowed to pump. And so I think our paper rights, we're approaching 1,000 gallons a minute, or we should be very close soon. From what we know, the city averages about 1,500 gallons a minute throughout the year. Now that's not their peak time, but their average. And so if we can bring in about 1,000 gallons a minute, up to 1,000 gallons a minute, I think we can make about a 67% impact in water supply boost to the city system, to the water co-op system. And so, as I'm speaking, just to kind of keep it a note, when I'm talking about the water system, I mean the water system as a whole, not just the city, not just the water co-op, just the system in general. So, with that, we're hoping to be able to help out, aid the city and water co-op in their water supply, but also blow the dark cloud away from our town that we don't have any water and we can't grow. And I'm not saying we need to be the size of Clovis, but we need to also be outpacing inflation in our growth at the electric co-op with some growth. And I think the city could prosper as well. So I know that there's some other projects in town that could rely on some water usage. But of course, we don't want to bring anyone into town that uses would be considered a high water user. So, but with that, yeah, we have about 35 wells. We're approaching about 1,000 gallons a minute that we can pump. We've started. Kendall has joined our team, hit the ground running. I think the first day he ordered equipment, and by the end of that week, the equipment had already showed up. So he's been out in the field. He's utilized some of our technology at the electric co-op and our engineering team to really build out a map of our well field, meaning that we wouldn't develop some apps for him to use and that tie into our mapping system. So he's been collecting data, getting water readings, and a lot of stuff that goes over my head as I'm not a water engineer. But he's collected a lot of good data, been able to map that. With that, we found some great anomalies in our well field. And it's really neat once you have all the data collected across 35 wells of about a 1,500 acre footprint, which you can really start to identify when you have access to that much data. So I know a few of his wells he's been very excited about. I think one of them we were able to pump so hard that the pump actually maxed out and we didn't actually get a reading of what we could have pumped. So that's not something that you hear about in Roosevelt or even Curry County anymore. And so we have some good quality or good quantity of water there. We are doing our quality sampling across 35 wells. There's some wells that are good and some wells that are bad. So we're not going to pick the bad ones. We're going to pick the good ones that have the best quality and the best quantity. And where those mix, those will be the wells that we identify and use. So I think currently we have about 6 wells ready in our first engineering plan to tie in. That will get us about how many gallons a minute?
Close to 750.
About 750 gallons a minute. In our phase 1, of course, we will spider web out. If you let me kind of use that analogy, and so we'll start with about 5 or 6, get our 750 gallons a minute. Our engineering team, which is also a mutual engineering team for the city, DBS&A, is close. Our engineering consultant anyway, we have a team at the electric co-op, so 2 different teams, but they're close to our design. Once we have our design, we will apply with the state of New Mexico to formally be allowed to sell water as a licensed facility. And so designs drafted, we're working through a few more revisions on the draft. Of course, with our meeting schedule with them, that may take a few weeks to get the final final version of our plan. But currently we will have those wells tied in to a transmission line that'll head north into town. We've identified with the city's team here a point of injection to the city system, which then in turn would feed the water co-op system. And so we've identified a 12-inch water main, 12-inch water main southeast of town. We have the site selected. We are in negotiations with the landowner there to purchase an area there or at least get easement, pay for easement to be able to connect our system there. I think we're looking at 1 tank for now. We'll stub out for future tank in the future. But I think now where we're at is our plan's complete. We've analyzed our well field. We have good water. We have a lot of it. We can do this quickly. We can do this a little cheaper than the government can. And I think we're really at a point where we need to start working with the 2 water utilities in the area and start to see what options you guys would like to see. I know we can get wells pumping to a tank. We can get it nice and clean and up to standard and into town. I think we can do that rather quickly. Now, what size tank do we need? And do you want 1 interconnection point? You want 3 interconnection points? Those are discussions we're going to have with the water utilities in the city and the water co-op to see what you'd like to see. Because if we can, make a bigger tank or, provide more backup for the city, we can do that. Or if you just rather have just the bare minimum just to have supplemental water, we can do that. And so discussions that we need to start having with you all. I think separately of our water plan, we talked a little bit about water meters in the last agenda item. We have been working with Kendall and his expertise from his former employer in water systems and water metering. We've mixed that with some of our technology that we have that the electric co-op as far as SCADA is involved. And it's really beautiful to watch the 2 systems come together. He's learned a little bit about our stuff. We've learned a little bit about what he knows. And so we've actually went ahead and ordered some meters and some pump controls that are SCADA enabled. And just to give you a little bit of background, Mr. Minton, we have the entire county covered in electrical SCADA. And so it's not going to be much for us just to add a few more meters and a few more devices to our water SCADA side. So I guess what I'm getting at is we're starting a pilot program for a SCADA system where I think our meter's already in transit, so it should be here soon. I know we can tie it together because it's the same vendor that we already use. And so that'll be tied into our SCADA system soon. We'll have our proof of concept and a tourable project soon. And as we're looking at that, we're building a state-of-the-art well field that will be completely operable from the office through our SCADA system. Of course, we'll be able to collect our data as well, but we'll be able to turn pumps on and off, ramp them up, ramp them down, change variable speeds, deep settings, all from the office. We also have SCADA monitored throughout the day at the co-op. We also have it tied after hours to alarms that we get on our phones through email or text. And so we are monitoring our SCADA system 24/7. And we'll have our well field doing the same soon. So I guess with that, what we're learning is, we have the right water guy. Our technology is blending very well with his knowledge and his background. We'll have a proof of concept device in our well field soon. We're developing a state-of-the-art well field one way or another. And so as the city's making decisions, it wouldn't be much harder for us to go ahead and develop the well field for the city as well. Asking these devices. You guys have been looking for these devices for 1.5 years. I'm going to have them in about a week. We'll have them tied in soon, shortly after that. And we'll be able to prove our concept. It's not much more for us to just go ahead and continue on different wells for the city as well. So currently, that's our only water supply between both systems is the well field that the city has. And if we can improve it and help us move along a little quicker, the co-op would like to offer our assistance with that. I think separately of that, Kendall's gone out for the last, well, he's been with us for 2 months, but it didn't take him a month. It took him a few weeks to go out and do all of the well analysis and data collection. If the city would like for us to go out and analyze your well field, collect some data and get you a good report on the current status of your well field. That data has been really great to watch because as you watch it develop across that GIS system, start to identify some streams and different points of contaminants and things like that. So it's something we could also help with if the city would like us to. Kendall and our engineering team go out there and do the same thing, give you a good status update on where your well field is and the health of it is currently. So kind of 2 different things there, 3 different things. 1, we have our water project. We're hoping to boost water supply. 2, we're building a SCADA system across that system. If you'd like for us to continue into yours, we could offer that. And then the 3rd one being that we could analyze the wells and the health of the well field if you would like. And so I know that these guys right here work very, very hard. We've seen it. We've seen them out, especially with all these rainstorms lately, working really hard. If we could take something off their plate, offer some assistance when we have a team here locally that can assist, we'd like to do so. And then that way these guys can get busy doing other things, as I'm sure that their list of things to do is very, very long. So it's pretty much where we're at, unless you guys had any questions for me.
Is that for me? Is that questions directed?
Go ahead.
So you're diversifying electric?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like it. I mean, that's part of the.
Well, and I want to hear the reason we're wanting to do that is we don't necessarily want to be involved in water, but we're not able to really sell much electricity if we can't grow, can't build any new neighborhoods or bring any new commercial load if we don't have water.
Got it.
Water wasn't really going anywhere, so we thought we'd go ahead and get involved. So,
But
but yeah, getting involved in water so we can continue to sell a little more electricity. And again, we don't want to sell a lot. We just need to outpace inflation and continue to grow slightly. But if we grow a little bit more than that, it wouldn't hurt our feelings. But we, we're not trying to triple the size of Portales or anything. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, you know what? No judgment. So I can't see me from over there, but on that side of the oak, if it looks like I'm like grumpy, whatever, I'm just listening. Okay, so I'm taking it all in. Mr. Davidson, I got to apologize. I said you had a lot of information to process. You're junior varsity. Eric, okay, you're top tier. All right. You are out of the minors, you're in the big leagues with that kind of information. Let me go over a couple of things here. Can we go back over just briefly over the numbers? So 1,000 gallons per minute, you're looking at kind of, that's what you're restricted to by contract.
We're coaching 1,000 gallons a minute with our water rights.
Water rights, okay.
Now our paper water rights.
Yeah.
Now we have options already in place to be able to expand upon that. If need be, but those are conversations we need to have with the water utilities to see what water do you want before we continue to move on.
I'll kind of capture this thing as one question, and please forgive me, I'm not shutting you down. I'm just going to expedite my question. So with your water rights, your 5 to 6 wells pumping about 750 gallons now that you're kind of prepared to push forward. Water rights 1,000 gallons per minute. I heard you say you have the capability, you think right now of about 3,000, and that wouldn't stress your operation or anything like that. Is 3,000 like your top limit, stuff starts breaking and things, or that's kind of an assessment?
Yeah, it's not. It's just what the wells are capable of producing.
Okay.
As ag wells. So physically we can pump about 3,000 gallons a minute, but as we convert those wells to municipal code, the state will restrict what we're allowed to pump out of them. And so what I'm trying to demonstrate is there's a lot of water there, and we're not gonna be straining our.
Yeah, I love that. We're gonna keep moving to that. And so I'm just synopsizing right now. So you mentioned, Eric, that you feel like that 1,000 gallons per minute could augment the city's average utilization per minute by 67%. Can you
Well,
go to those numbers again?
I'm looking at it, if you're using about 1,500 gallons a minute, and I think.
Okay, I thought we said 15,000. I was like, okay.
No,
that was
1,500
crazy.
gallons a minute is the city's
Yeah.
average.
I got a C minus in algebra and
Okay.
I would have believed it.
Well, if we could boost it by 1,000 gallons, it's about a 67% increase in water supply.
Oh, okay, cool. So that goes over the numbers again. Stigma. This is, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. This is just to think about. We don't have to have an answer right now. But how do you overcome, this is my question to everybody. How do you overcome stigmas? I don't need an answer right now. Just something to think about, right? Once you're labeled with something that's not necessarily good, how do you overcome that? We'll talk about that later. I mean, I think I know, but let's think about that as we go forward. I think you're on to something. I think that you mentioned some things that can take care of that, but I could pump water all day long. I can pump goose fat all day long, but it's, there's a different way to get over that stigma. Okay, okay. Yes, sir.
I love the direction that the co-op is going with this. The problem that I have with it is that we have no formal agreement with them. They have taken it on themselves to go out and do all this, and in the hopes of being able to come up with an agreement with the city and provide water, but they're sticking their necks way out there right now.
You bet.
Because we have no agreement with the city, and we need to be coming up with some kind of a MOA or something, some way of giving them the okay that we are wanting to proceed with this.
Hmm.
And like I said, they've kind of stuck their necks out there and just done a lot of things on their own. But I'm excited what they're coming up with, and I feel like, me personally, that I'm very interested in seeing it, an agreement come to fruition between the two of us. But we need to start moving in that direction so that they're not taking such a risk.
Yeah.
And they've got other customers. I mean, they could go straight to co-op and do the same thing for them. They've come to the city with this, you know, because they want to help with the community. So I think we need to start making some moves in that direction. So.
Mr. Merrick, some of the comments that you said are exactly right. And there is, you know, I understand there's essence behind what you're saying as well. I think it's awesome that you and the rest of us recognize that this company has done what anybody really in the country or the world could have done, but did it. Anybody could have looked globally or nationally and said, let's find somebody with a problem. Let us as a business come in and provide a solution. Provide it, but do the market research, the applicability, the availability, and to do the demonstrated proficiency and say, hey, I got a solution to your perceived problem and stigma. What do you think? This is what businesses do. Good ones, efficient ones that keep going into the future. So you are not wrong, Mr. Merrick, and Eric, you're spot on, and your delivery is awesome. Nothing wrong with it. It's a lot for me to take in, kind of do the thing. I got the crux of it. But your organization is doing exactly what a top tier business would do to stay in business, diversify, and provide a solution to someone who needs a solution to their problem. Kudos to you and your team. Mr. Merrick, I don't think you're wrong. I think Ms. Rudd will find, you know, ways to look at that, make sure it's applicable above board, and that we're not ruling anybody out, so that we are above the scrutiny of the public and the law as we do anything as we go forward. But all people need to remind themselves that we have to do that so we don't find ourselves bogged down by not broken parts or latency in delivery, but courtrooms and things like that. And I know we will do that. A couple more things. If I think you answered those diversification, discuss that pilot program. So you internally have kind of decided to do a pilot program to show proof of concept this can be done. Is that kind of what I'm?
You know, I think I need to just kind of.
So you're gonna talk about your organization, not you. I mean,
Back up there a little bit. So, we have one of the top tier SCADA systems in the state of New Mexico as far as, electric co-ops are
Yeah.
concerned. I'd love to give you a tour of it.
We're gonna do that.
Actually expanding it, now, and we have a tour for our statewide organization tomorrow. As the other 16 co-ops are now, some of them have some SCADA, but ours is pretty top notch. And, as the other co-ops that are not SCADA enabled are starting to look into it, they're gonna come to our facility tomorrow. So, but I'd love to show you that. So when I say proof of concept, I know we can build a SCADA system with that. The devices that we're gonna tie into this are devices very similar to what we already use, same company, same brand. And so I hate calling it proof of concept because we know we can do it. We're just gonna start enabling some water devices on our SCADA system. And so that would be the only difference, is now we're working with pump controllers instead of electric controllers.
Okay, on Thursday or Friday, I don't recall which, I had a interview from Eastern New Mexico News. Does that sound right? Yeah, newspaper. Okay. One of the questions was, does the city still plan on pursuing water through RCEC? So it's more than just us in this room. If the press is asking, then we, for many reasons, not just because of that reason, but we just have to make sure that what we're doing is the right thing to do. And if we have a message that we're pursuing RCEC, then we have to get that message out. And that's part of that stigma. There's stigma that we have lack of water, but there's other stigmas too. So we need to make sure holistically that we tackle those things, and that we're kind of like what I said a few minutes ago, above board and above reproach when it comes to these types of things. Okay. So I would ask everybody, including the water, forgive me, I'm trying to get the right names. I don't want to call you the wrong one, Water Advisory Board, to take those into consideration as we do working groups, come forward and decide what we're going to do. That too is important. Okay. I think listening to you without digging into the digits and having you show me the well field, the SCADA system and others, it sounds like a solution to the perceived problem of Portales and the surrounding element not having water. It seems like the solution's out there. It sounds like we do have water. It sounds like there are systems that get after it. And it sounds like we can probably do that going forward in the future. I appreciate your delivery. I think there's a lot of information there. I'm going to be completely honest. I was doing really well until somewhere in the delivery you discussed whether the city wants one big holding tank or a different kind of thing. And after that, my brain housing group just couldn't handle the rest of it. It became fuzzy after that. If we can talk about up to that point, I'm on track. After that, we'll have to go back over it. But I appreciate you. If there's any information, sir, I appreciate you. It sounds like you've done a lot of really quality work in a 2-month period.
Yes.
See, I remember that. Okay. So it sounds like we're onto something, and I cannot wait to go out there and take a look and have you guys show me and other members of the city in accordance with what standard business practice and fair and above board. Show me what you can. I can't wait to look at it and process it and understand it.
Let me add 2 more things. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
it kind of brought up a couple things in my mind. I think one of the biggest questions will soon be, okay, well, we're still pumping water out of the aquifer. What's the matter if we're pumping it over here?
Someone's going to ask that.
Yeah.
They are.
So, just some things that we've thought through, if the 2 systems are working together, 2 well fields are working together through one system, this project would offer the city an ability to be able to rest some wells and maybe allow some recharge there as we're expanding how many wells we're using. So well resting would be one thing to discuss. Another thing, the co-op has looked at some recharge projects, and we feel very good about some possible recharge well recharging projects in the future. I think currently we're just focused on getting some water to the town because we think they need it. But there are some options. We've looked at it. We have the team to analyze that. I just don't want to get into that until that's time.
I think those are working group topics. I think
there's things to discuss that we have some ideas on. So things we've been thinking about.
Okay. And for the board, I would ask you to remind all of us when the time comes that when you are doing working groups and you are doing those processes that that you look for. I mean, we have to know when we're looking at something and someone brings us a concept, you have to know the pros and the cons and give them weighted criteria. I'm gonna rest the wells. I'm gonna say that once. I'm not gonna say it again because I'll say it back. But what does that mean to me? I'm not asking you to tell me right now, but when you're providing here's what we can do and what it does for you, all of that. Pumping or delivering the product is one thing, but what does that product cost? And why am I buying it? And what am I getting my goods and services for? And tell me why it's good for me all the way across the board and why it's bad. And that way I can, not necessarily bad, but you know what I mean? Why it's a competitive edge on another course of action, 1, 2, or 3. And that way we can make informed decisions that are operational and we can execute them. So keep that in mind. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions for Eric regarding co-op? Okay, thank you very much, Eric. Thank you, Kendall. We would allow for any public comments for 3 minutes if anyone desires. Is anybody? Yeah, all right. And is there any other business, any matter not known about which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior to posting the agenda that anyone wants to discuss? Start up here. Comments on this side?
I would like for us to formally set a working group so we can move forward. We have lots of meetings, and then we have more meetings, and then we have more meetings. And we don't ever get down to that brass tacks of getting something done. So I think if we're gonna do that, we need to do it right now, say, we need a committee, find out who wants to be on it. A working group, not a committee. We need to stop talking about committees. Maybe just meet, that is getting in something. It's my.
Mr. Rockler, if I may, I agree, but I would like for the council to be the authority who tasks that work.
And I'm saying we should recommend.
Absolutely, as long as I just wanted to be clear on that.
We should make a recommendation at the next council meeting that we set a water working group to get these things on.
And maybe with the suspense on when to have their product of courses of action recommendations done. That way we know we have a starting point, we have a working group, starting point, midpoint, review point, execution point, provide something.
Perfect, I'm so glad we are.
Oh, well, thanks.
And by the way, last comment, I'll make one last comment. Thank you for your posts the way you're doing them. You make concise comments on our social media about what's going on, but you leave it in a positive spin for our community, and I think it's better.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You done here?
I'm good.
Okay, Diane?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and Chris, do you have the next meeting date? You wanna? Or Mr. Minton, do you have a recommendation?
One recommendation, team, going forward, as those of you get to know me, I will avoid at all costs any meetings on Mondays. And particularly if they have to be on a Monday, any meetings on a Monday before 1300 or 1 o'clock. Things happen on the weekend and the city needs time to react to that. And so I would ask that meetings start on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and try to refrain from Fridays. That's my only, so those are my left and right limits on meetings. If we have to, we have to, but if we don't, I'm gonna avoid those. That's my recommendation.
It would be August 26th.
Go ahead and put that down. And one thing I do want to ask Chris Mendoza, they had you scheduled for an Aquaterix presentation while you were on vacation. So
You didn't show up.
and you didn't show up here. So
Nope, I was on vacation. No, that Aquaterix presentation, it was more informative. It was just phase 2 that they had sent over to us as a proposal. It was not something that the city had funding for, because we can't utilize water trust board funding.
okay.
So we wanted to bring it to the board's attention, just to discuss it and potentially get a recommendation on moving forward.
Okay. I was looking over the minutes and they said, well, let's do that the next meeting. And then I realized there wasn't prep time to get that in. So if you want that time, just holler.
Okay, like I said, it was just, I don't know if she. Was it posted up as a presentation? No,
No, no,
okay, maybe next meeting I'll bring it back
that's,
and I'll have it up on the screen for
Okay.
everybody to see.
just wanted to give you the opportunity if you wanted it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
on the scheduling, will the 26th step on the toes of Public Works?
Public Works will be shifted.
I guess we'll be shifting Public Works then.
okay.
Okay.
All right, we have discussed all the items on the agenda. And are there any objections to adjourning this meeting? I'm sorry, did anybody from staff have any comments? I didn't head that direction. Okay. Since we've discussed the item on the agenda, is there any objection to adjourning the meeting? Okay, we will. Having no objections, this meeting is adjourned.